Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Ledwell and this is The Inspiration Show. Today on the show we're going to be talking about a different modality. You know, most of us from previous shows and from working with me with my movies, we talk a lot about EFT or tapping. Well, today we're going to be talking about something called FasterEFT. So to help me to explain what this all is, please welcome my guest, Deirdre Maguire. How are you, Deirdre?
I'm very well, thank you, Natalie.
Great to have you all the way from Ireland. So if you're wondering where that accent's from, it's actually from Ireland.
Yeah.
So why don't we start first of all, Deirdre, with just your background and your story and how you got into doing this, like you're very different and unique modality.
Okay, well, I'm Deirdre and I'm from Newcastle in County Down in Northern Ireland. And in my personal life, up until I was about 40 years of age, everything looked like it was okay. You know, I had all the outside stuff. I was very successful. I had a third level education and I had enough money. I traveled the world, but on the inside I was running on empty. And I'm the eldest of 5 children, and of Joe and Kathleen, my parents, and great parents, very loving parents, but their best coping skills were fear, guilt, anger, and all that nice stuff. And as my father's best coping skill, drinking, progressed, my life became unmanageable. So I actually got into 12-step recovery, into Al-Anon, and at 40 years of age, and it was like someone opened the door and that I could actually realize that there was another way to live. And I was very happy in Al-Anon for 10 years. I was a very committed member, but then I started to outgrow it because fundamentally 12-step recovery believed that we were powerless. And there was a part of me that it just didn't fit. You know, I didn't think that I was powerless. But it put me in touch with like-minded people. And I started my journey, my insatiable appetite for more and more healing. And if you can picture, I'm in the family business, working with my parents, and I have this passion for this other stuff that nobody else knows anything about. My brothers and sisters start avoiding me because all I talk about is, you know, there is another way, you can do things differently. And so I was virtually on my own trying to find a better way to be, but I was very, very passionate about it. And so I thought, then actually my father died. My father actually committed suicide, and it is actually a measure of my healing today that doesn't, you know, affect me in any way. You know, I can love my father without having the pain of suicide, which this is how FasterEFT has helped me. But anyway, really that accelerated my learning, my wanting to know more. And I thought I need to help other people, so I tried counseling, and I thought, no, not that. And then I heard about life coaching, and that really impressed me because life coaching meant that people were setting goals and moving forward. We're no longer looking back, because that's what counseling was, telling a story. So I got into life coaching, still studying, working in the family business, but just studying all the time, having this dream way out there that maybe I could do this. And then I discovered, thank God, I discovered NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, science of the brain, and that really, really excited me. And then one night I was actually just sitting on the computer and I was Googling NLP, and I found a guy called Robert Smith. And here, way over in the sticks in Oklahoma, was this quirky man with a funny accent, that's rich coming from me, with this modality, and it was FasterEFT. But I still didn't do anything about it, and it was actually my brother, whom I was helping with NLP to recover from the trauma of my father's death. It was he who discovered Robert Smith and FasterEFT and came back to me and said, you know something, this stuff really works. I had watched it, but I never did anything with it. You know, I was like the intellectual. I was studying it, making notes, but never once did this, never once. So he got really big changes, and I saw the changes that he was getting. And he brought his 7-year-old son, Matthew, to Robert via the telephone. And Robert did a session on him. And Matthew was having a lot of problems. He was a school refuser. And in 1 2-hour session, over the phone from Oklahoma to Ireland, Robert transformed his life. And the child went to school the next day with no problems. So I was definitely curious then. And my brother said, I would love to go and see Robert Smith. And it was too far away. It was on the other side of the world. And a few days later, he came in and said, guess what? Robert Smith's coming to England. And a few days after that, he came into the shop where we worked together, and he said, guess what? Robert Smith is coming to Ireland. So Robert came to Ireland, to County Cork way at the other end, and we got the money together, and I sent my brother, his wife, and the 2 children down to Cork, and I stayed at home and looked after the business, which was actually that's what I was very good at, taking care of everybody else. But I called my brother. He said, it's amazing what this man can do. And I said, I have to speak to him. So I phoned Robert in Cork, and he said to me, why don't you come to the airport for a session? I said, you don't understand, I'm at the top of Ireland, you're at the bottom. And he said, I can get rid of your demons. And there was something clicked. And he said, if you pay my fare to come up to you, I will take care of it. So in that moment, I made the decision to bring him up. I went to the local hotel. They lent me 40 chairs. I took the furniture out of this room we're sitting in. I took my furniture out of my room. I put in the 40 chairs. I went to the airport. I picked up Robert Smith. He did a seminar here for 40 people in my home. And that was when my life really started to transform. And fast forwarding then, I bought the ultimate training kit from him. That was in October, and I started studying in 2009. I started watching all his videos in the winter, and the following February I went to Oklahoma, did the training, and became a practitioner. And that's only 5 years ago. And now I am a master practitioner. I am one of only 4 master practitioners in the world. I travel the world. My life has completely transformed. We closed the family business. I became a full-time coach. And just as everything was lining up, I got cancer. And it was like, just as soon as you get what you want, something like this happens. But I had FasterEFT. It was the biggest, obviously, after my father's death, it was the biggest event in my life. And I had to start to deal with that. But I did. And that was 2 years ago this week, Natalie, actually. I had surgery. I had cancer in my tonsil. And I had it in the lymph nodes. And they operated. I had 35 stitches in my neck. They wanted me to have chemotherapy and radiation, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. In my gut, I knew, this was the biggest challenge. Picture, I'm a good Irish Catholic boarding school, reared by the nuns' girl, so I do what I'm told. But this, I said, no, I'm not doing it. So I made the decision not to, and using my tapping and the support from my FasterEFT family, because we are actually a family, we support each other. And biggest challenge in my life, because we all know it's what we believe. So what did I believe to be true? Who was I? Deirdre, who am I to say to the doctor, no, I'm not, I don't want to have this. So I just left, and I went to where I needed to be. I volunteer twice a year at a place called Habilitat. It's a drugs and alcohol rehabilitation unit in Hawaii, and we, the FasterEFT team, go there. And I was supposed to be there, but I was sitting here with 35 stitches. So what do? Do you go to the doctor and the chemo, or do you go to where you need to go? And I did. I traveled across the world. I was supposed to be away for 8 days. I stayed away for 8 months. I went to Australia. I followed with Robert, and we went round, and I had my healing journey, and I focused on FasterEFT instead of focusing on illness. I was focusing on health. It sounds like a nice story. It's not. It wasn't as easy as all of that. It's not just a couple of taps. But today I'm living the dream, Natalie. Imagine I get to talk to you. How much better can that get?
Okay, wow. First of all, wow. Okay. So where do we go from here? Like, I suppose I want to know what the difference between FasterEFT and regular EFT is. What's the difference between the two of them?
Well, really, actually, the only commonality is, well, they're healing modalities, but essentially EFT believes that there's something broken inside. And FasterEFT believes the opposite, that we are successfully producing a result, that whatever we're doing, whether we're overweight, lonely, guilty, angry, scared, whatever the problem is, it is actually a success, that we are a success based on our past references. The commonality is the actual tapping, but essentially FasterEFT is a thinking system. It's a healing system, and it's a thinking system, and that's where they actually differ.
Right. So rather than, because, with EFT, I know that, how I recommend and friends of mine recommend is that, you tap and you go through the different points, and you're talking about the negative side of the situation that you want to deal with. And then when you get that emotion from a 10 down to a 1 or a 2, then you finish off that with a couple of rounds of just doing the positive script about that situation. So is that what FasterEFT is? You go straight into the positive straight away?
Well, we don't have scripts. We don't have scripts at all, because we're not guessing we're working with the subconscious mind, and we're letting the subconscious mind do all the work. Essentially, as a practitioner, we are facilitators to the unconscious. We're not trying to figure out what it is. We know that the subconscious mind knows. And when we get down to a 0 or a 1, we're absolutely not finished. FasterEFT is not finished until we've actually flipped the memory, that we are actually in a positive state, and you cannot make it come back.
Okay. So technically what you're doing is creating new neural pathways, you're creating new thought processes. Is that how it works?
Yeah, we essentially find what the original imprint is, and we go there. We go to the trance of the past. We step into the trance of it. We step into the memory. What we talk about putting the cook in the kitchen. We will put the client back in there, feeling it for the last time. We support them through it, and they're feeling it for the last time. And then I like to think of it almost like a whoopee cushion. It's like a big emotion, and we just collapse it down until there's no emotion left in it. And then the truth about it is, memories are all made up now. They're all synthetic. They're not real now. They just feel real because the mind expresses in the body. Okay? So when we're acting from there as a practitioner, even though the client may have the worst of the stuff, we know that it's not real. So we're bigger than the client. We're supporting them to go back there, feel it for the last time, release it, let it go, and change it into something they do want. Okay, so say for example, the example of my father's death. My father committed suicide. He killed himself. He went into a river. So what do I do with that? I had actually, Natalie, created a memory because I didn't see it. But in my mind, I made all the pictures. I actually went down to the river and imagined how he did it. even though I don't really know what happened, okay? So I attached all my emotions to that I wasn't a good enough daughter, that if only I could have saved him, if only I'd been there that night, if I had blah, 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 and I attached all that to it. So what we do in FasterEFT is we go back there, feel it, see it, hear it, all the emotions, and we tap them away until the picture collapses, and actually the mind will give us something else. So I had a choice at that point. I can either hold on to the last 10 seconds of my father's life, or I can remember all the good times. And actually what the mind gave me was a very good memory of my father. He taught me how to swim. So I was able to feel the love that my father had for me and hold on to that and release and let go of the others. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. You know, you've just made me remember a conversation I had at dinner last night with a girlfriend of mine, because we were talking about like one of these patterns that I released this year. I did a thing called the Hoffman process, and I have this coping mechanism of, you know, closing down emotionally and putting up this facade like everything is okay. What I realized when I did that process is that I actually took that on when I was 3 years old, when my biological mother left. So, yes. And I said to her, I said, the thing is that scared me the most about the Hoffman process is I knew I would have to go there, and I didn't want to go there emotionally and get lost in it. And I'm like, and it doesn't make sense, because in every other area of my life, I'm so strong and I like to face my fears, and I'm one of these, you know, courageous people. I'm like, I didn't know why that scared me so much, and then I had the realization it's because every time I went back to that, I was feeling the fear of the 3-year-old.
Exactly.
You know, that fear was massive. And I'm like, yeah. As an adult, you can look back and go, I don't know why I was so scared. But it's because every time I thought of it, I was having 3-year-old fear, which was...
See, that's what a memory is, recorded information from a distorted point of view.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So the 3-year-old is driving the bus. So every time something like that happens, the 3-year-old takes over, you are actually in a trance. You're back there. So what we can do, because it's not real now, and because it's all made up, we can go back there using our NLP, using our submodalities, and change all those references. And then you can actually make it up good. You can make up something good, like, you know, what we do is we can step into your mom's role and what happened to her, acting from where she was, and then you start to see it from a different perspective. The you of today, the adult of today, the mother of today, can now become the mother and see memory from a different perspective, and then take charge. Because here's the secret, Natalie, it's all you. It's all us. My father's at peace. He's a butterfly. So who is drowning him again and again and again and again? Me. So when you realize that, then you really can take charge. You really can take control. Now, it's not always, it's very simple, but it's not always easy, because like you say, we don't want to go there. So this is what excites me, because if you are my client, you know, I can say, you and I are going there together, go to it, feel it for the last time, but you're here with me, but we go over there, but you're here with me, and then we can, you know, there are many different ways that FasterEFT teaches us how to do it. You know, we have lots and lots of tools in our toolbox, and it
sounds absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, we have run out of time today, but if people want to connect with you, Deirdre, and work with you, and I know that you can probably do sessions, you don't have to be in person, you can be on the phone or Skype or whatever. Yeah, how can we connect people with you?
Well, my website is, I have a couple of them, but one of them is www.fastereft.co.uk or www.steppingstonesni.co.uk.
Beautiful, excellent. Thanks again, Deirdre. Thank you for coming all the way from Ireland. I know it must be pretty late over there, so I really appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Natalie, and I look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Wonderful. Now, guys, I encourage you to share this video and get the word out about this FasterEFT. You can do that by clicking the Facebook and the Twitter share buttons on this page. Make sure that you can click on the banner to the side if you're here online, or underneath if you're on the app, so you can go through to Deirdre's website from there. And make sure that you leave your email in the box on this page so I can send you the Manifesting with the Masters video e-course. It's actually valued at $87, and I'd love to send it to you for free. So until next time, remember to live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.